Hello and welcome to the show. Thank you for joining the show. Listen, we are celebrating the power of the kidpreneur. You're going to meet Avery Kelly. She's a 13-year-old talk show host, producer, filmmaker, and then you're going to meet Nicholas Jackson. He's a 13-year-old bull rider. And so you're going to also meet their parents. So I want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy because it's coming up next.
The Cecil Williams South Carolina Civil Rights Museum is the Palmetto State's first and only museum. It honors a generation of people, black and white, throughout the state of South Carolina who deserve to be remembered for their unselfish commitments and sacrifices. Enjoy an immersive and entertaining virtual tour. For more information, visit www.cecilwilliams.com.
Well, I tell you what, we've got a great show planned for you. When I talk about what's on my mind, I tell you, it's nothing but about these kidpreneurs. And they're not really kids. They are young people really doing it in our country. And so it gives me great pleasure to introduce the first guest. Listen, as I said, she's an up and coming writer, director, producer from Chicago. She's currently the host of her virtual talk show, Tweendom Talk Show. I think I said that right, Avery. And she's working on a short film called Back Row. She also did a documentary for Soul Train, and that's how I met her. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I want to introduce you to Avery Kelly, and her parents are with her, Charles and Amy Kelly. How are you? Come on out, y'all.
Hi,
Hi, everybody.
Hey, how are you?
we're good. We're good. We're hanging in there. How are you?
I am doing well. Listen, Avery, when you talk to another talk show host, it's like we could just talk forever and ever and ever. The first thing I want to do is thank you so much for joining me again. And Amy and Charles, we had a long conversation on the last time Avery was here last year. And I said I wanted to do something with her parents. I wanted you all to come out as well. And so I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Avery, I am so proud of you. Congratulations first on all of your successes. I enjoyed spending your birthday with you when you turned that big 13 and had this big birthday party virtually. And so I want to thank you for inviting me to that. So let's get into it, Avery. I want to talk to you because a lot of people that may not have seen the show last year are seeing you for the first time. Let's talk about what and who inspires you to do what you've been doing at 13 years old.
Ooh, that is a fantastic question. I feel like, and this may be a little cliche, but these two right here truly do inspire me each and every day to just keep going with what I'm doing and truly inspire me to be the best of myself, to be a boss, to be a leader. And overall, in the industry, some people that inspire me, I would say Ava DuVernay is a huge inspiration, and Issa Rae is another huge inspiration as well. Both of them, I feel like, have just created the path for themselves and have continued to go on that path, and have also continued to use their gifts to be able to help others as well in this industry. And I feel like that's something I really want to be able to do. So those are two major inspirations in the industry, and these are two major inspirations in my daily life.
Well, of course they are. One of the things that intrigued me about you when I first read about you, and I got in touch with your mom, and we know some of the same people, which is a blessing. It's a small world, isn't it, Amy?
It is a very small world.
And one of the things that I wanted to ask you about was about your inspiration. Where did you get the passion for wanting to be in media?
I feel like the passions have come from different parts of my life. I have been in the arts since I was little. I started off doing dance, and I also did a little bit of writing with like essays and creating my own little stories when I was a little girl. And there was one week where I got on punishment and I just had to sit and do something besides be on my phone and talking to my friends all day. So I ended up just writing a story and turning it into a script. And ever since then, I have just continued to use my creativity to try and amplify young Black voices in a positive way. And I feel like that's kind of how I found my passion. And my inspiration comes from just everything. I have inspiration from things that have happened in the past, things that happen in the present day, from literally nature. Like I have inspiration from all different walks of life.
Yeah, and when I see you on everybody to know, but Twitter, Instagram, I mean, you are all over, big in a big way. So your company, your production company, Inspired Melanin. How did you come up with that, and where did that idea come from?
That idea all first started when I actually started writing my very first script, which was Back Row, the short film that I did. I had just created the short film and had it in its very first film festival, and I was just over the moon about it. And I officially decided, okay, yeah, I kind of want to continue to do this for the rest of my life. So I decided I might as well create a production company so I could have my projects that were under it, and also maybe even help other people that want to spread and amplify young Black voices in a positive way and have them under the production company. So I decided to create Inspired Melanin. With I was just talking to my mom one day and I'm like, if I start a production company, I think I should call it Inspired Melanin. And she was
Oh,
like, oh wait, that's a fantastic name. I was like, yeah, can we do this? And then she was like, yeah, we can. And I was like, oh, okay. So that's kind of how it all initially started, and it's just been growing ever since. And I'm just so happy about it.
wow. Now, Mom and Dad, I cannot stop without asking you this question. Your child comes to you and she says, I want to start a production company. What's the first thing that goes through your mind, Amy and or Charles?
Yeah, Mom.
That started with we do vision boards,
Hmm.
and we had done vision boards, and so that at the end of the next year, I was asking Avery kind of how did things go that next January, and she came and said, "You're halting my life dreams. You're hindering them." And I thought, how? And she said that she wanted to take this script she had been writing and actually make it into a short film, and I didn't know what to do. But I decided to do some research and try to help that. And we moved along as she got into the film festival. And after the film festival, she said she started talking about production companies, and she would want to put her project under her own production company. And I just said, okay, well, you have to start an LLC to do that. And I told her to research it, which I didn't think she would do. But now, as she's older, I know that when you tell her something, she will do it. And so she
Hmm.
researched it. And she used to talk about she wanted to get inspired and melanin tattooed on her wrists. And then she said, well, instead of getting them tattooed on my wrist, I'll name my company that.
I forgot
Which I
about
think
that.
her dad probably liked.
Wow.
I just feel like when she says things, if she takes the effort and takes those steps that need to be taken to make herself knowledgeable, then we have to take the effort to try to make it happen.
That's right. And so, Dad, your little girl, your
Mhm.
only baby girl, what ran through your mind when you heard, I'm gonna be a production, I'm gonna have a film, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And how old? That's the next question.
How old?
How old?
I was 11.
I was
Yeah.
11?
She-
Okay.
11.
Yeah.
It started at 10 and then she turned 11. So yeah.
Okay. And so, Dad, what were your thoughts?
Well, I was proud. I was happy. When we were taking her to school and when she was going to school, I would often talk about leadership and what is being a leader. And I would talk about a few quotes here and there that I would find. But it was all about taking ownership and responsibility for your dreams and what you want. We're not responsible for the dream that you have, but we are responsible for making sure that we create that avenue and that road. But with when my wife was talking about it, as far as doing her own research, that's a part of the ownership piece because we never wanted to just give her stuff. We wanted her to get a sense of what it takes to work for it. And when you work for it, you appreciate it and you put your heart and soul into it. And she's her worst critic. And we just come in and we make sure we cultivate how hard she is on herself, not to be too hard. But I'm super proud of the fact that she took ownership to it, and I'm just elated to be in a position to sit back and watch and see her grow.
Wow, that is fabulous to hear that. Avery, I know when you hear your parents, just like you said, they're your biggest champions because you did this, and they're
Mhm.
your biggest champions. let's talk about, I'm going to shift a little bit because I want to talk about the pandemic. We've had conversations about that before because last year we were doing the same thing. What effect has it had on you now as you're seeing with your productions and all?
That's a fantastic question. Initially, when we first got into this whole quarantine process, I thought it was going to be a really negative effect. I had just filmed a pilot episode for my series, which we didn't end up being able to use because of COVID struck right in the middle of our editing process. And I was just like, okay, this is going to halt my creative process so bad. But overall, it ended up being a fantastic thing, and not a fantastic thing in terms of all the people that have been sick and everything that's happened, because that's been horrible. But I feel like this time was specifically needed for me to be able to kind of move my creative process. I was able to start my virtual talk show, Teendom Talk Show, which I had been thinking about for a while already. I wanted to do it in person like a regular talk show, but I ended up having to, of course, resort to other options because of this pandemic. And then afterwards, I also had my documentary, Soul Train, Soul Change, which ended up going to humongous places that I don't know if it would have been able to reach unless it was for this quarantine process. And my writing has been able to expand. And I'm now working on a documentary, which hopefully I get to say a little bit about. And so there's just so many different things that have been happening that I feel like has helped my growth as a creator and has helped my growth as a writer and with this production company, with all of my other projects that I don't know would have happened unless this all happened. So I feel like initially I thought it was really bad, and it ended up being really good.
All good things happen. There's a reason for everything. I said out of this pandemic, and we've talked about this before. We look at the bad part, but have really been some great things that have come out of the pandemic. And one of the things that I want the audience to see, and Tiana, can you go ahead and get ready to show that reel? We're going to show Soul Train, Soul Change.
The early 60s were a very different time from now. America was segregated in many ways, especially in the entertainment industry. During this time, there were minimal black images on TV for people to look up to. Many civil rights events such as Operation Breadbasket, the Fair Housing Act, and the Chicago Freedom Movement helped reshape a few boundaries for African Americans. But when it came down to a wider black situation in media, African Americans rarely had a clear path paved for them.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. As you know, I love Soul Train. I grew up Soul Train, So, and that's what attracted me to you. I read the story about you in Black Enterprise. I think it was Black Enterprise that did the story on you. And I said, I've got to get in touch with it. Not knowing that I'd be able to have you, I'm just honored to have you with me. So let's talk about projects, new projects, because I want to really get to that before I talk to your parents. Talk about what's going on now. What's new?
So there's a lot of new stuff that's been happening. So of course I'm still working on Teendom Talk Show. Went from Tweendom to Teendom, and I'm still continuously working on that. I'm so happy about that.
How many episodes?
Oh, I think this is oh, right, it's gonna be 45 episodes. I just realized that right now. I'm like, okay. But yes, 45 episodes, so over 45 weeks in, and I'm still continuously working on that. And then I also have a documentary that will be coming out this summer that I was thankfully able to do throughout this entire process. And I'm trying to find the perfect way to be able to describe it. So it's estimated release date is Juneteenth, and I wanted to do this documentary kind of just to talk about my feelings of things that I've lost during this COVID process, but how it still is a positive impact on the African American community, especially in Chicago where I live, because what the documentary is focused on is such a fantastic thing. And it's been a huge part of my life. It's been like one of the most constant things in my life besides these two. So just for me to be able to create a documentary on it is so exciting. And we're hopefully going to have a virtual premiere and everything. And details will be released soon. So I'm really excited.
All right. Well, please keep me on the A list, I hope,
Yep.
for the virtual premiere. I'm going to get all dressed up. I'm going to be ready for it. So Avery, talk about your biggest accomplishment thus far. What's your biggest accomplishment?
I feel like there's so many that it's so hard to choose. I would say one of the things that have stood out to me that actually happened during COVID was my Soul Train Soul Change documentary. Initially started as a school project, and it got to go in a virtual exhibit at the National Museum of African American History and Culture in DC. And I'm like, I wanted to go there since it first opened. And for my work to be a part of a virtual exhibit there, before I even got the opportunity to go, it was just something that I
Wow.
so amazing, and it was so mind blowing. It felt like it was surreal, and I just didn't imagine that my work would be able to reach as many people as it did, and it just gave me that glimmer of hope and gave me that glimmer of motivation to be like, yeah, you are definitely meant to do this. It was able to reach this many people, impact this many people, and it's just to this day one of the things that I'm like, oh yeah, I can tell my kids about this all.
Wow. Wow. Congratulations. I tell you what, that's just amazing. I wanted to talk with you and ask you about your balance between school and work, but the way you're talking, you got it all figured out. I mean, I know it can be a little difficult, but what keeps you balanced at this point?
I feel like there's a lot of different things. Once again, these two, they really help me stay on my game. I feel like from the transition of before COVID, because I started doing this before COVID. Initially, I was a bit confused because I wanted to be able to balance every single thing, and I realized like you can't do everything, and that's okay. But then when COVID started, lots of things became virtual, so it gave me that time to be able to learn how to actually become a planner, how to actually like strategically like fit my schedule. And my dad, he's a very organized person, and no offense, mom, but he's a very organized person. And my mom, like, she always tells me like, oh, you need to create a schedule. And I'm like, okay, let me create a schedule. And now I've become like a to-do list person, and I've created those priorities like with my friends. I'm glad that I have a group of friends that actually like understands like, hey, I may not be able to call today because I kind of got to do this, and this for work, and then I gotta do this for school to make sure that that's done. And then afterwards, I'll get to y'all later. So it's
Wow.
become a process. But at the end of the day, I feel like I've gained that balance that I need. I always put school first, and then I put work next. Because work, I don't even like to use the term work. I like to use the term like doing what I love, but in a more
Exactly.
version. So kind of just like doing my God given task is what is what I'll call it. So when I'm pursuing my God given talents and God given path, and y'all can come after me. That's how I plan it out.
Wow. Well, I'm going to ask you three words that describe you, Avery, and then I'm going to talk to your parents.
3 words that describe creative. I'd say that, not just I'd say energetic. I'm very energetic, especially it's these two. Like they,
Hmm.
I'm an only child, so they can get tired of me sometimes. But, I'd say creative, energetic. This is a difficult one. I don't really describe myself like that. And then I'd say maybe last, loving, because I love everybody, and I want to see everyone do good. Like I saw this one quote, and I live by it now. And I'm like, I'm not competing with you. I'm already rooting for you.
All right.
Like there's no, I don't see anything as like a competition. I don't want to, I just love everyone, and I want everyone to do good, and hopefully I can uplift other people as well through my work. So I would say that I'd say those are 3 pretty good words.
Yes, they are creative, energetic, and loving. Listen, you are definitely the talk show host of all. And my hat, I'm telling you, my
Thank
hats are off to you. I love you. And I'm just so proud of you. And I tell you, thank you for sharing this time with me. I want to talk to your parents. You stay right there, but we're going to talk to your parents because you might want to chime in a little bit. All
you.
right. So Charles and Amy, I know you are so proud of Avery. I can see it as I'm sitting here talking with you. I just wanted, how have you managed your careers while you're helping Avery start hers?
Can I do it?
Yeah.
Come on, Amy.
So I probably in the beginning asked Charles like every month, like, so can I not work? So can I not work? Because I'm working with Avery. But now, especially through the pandemic, she has managed herself so well. And I was going to say, she was being extremely humble. She has done phenomenal in school, probably now more in the pandemic than before. And she was doing great and excellent then. But she's won awards during the pandemic. She just went to the state science fair. She's just doing some great things. And so managing our careers actually is really easier during the pandemic because we're all at home. But like she said, she has turned into this person where she makes a to-do list in the morning. She follows it. We don't have to do a lot. Sometimes I may have to say, like, okay, you spent your Saturday on the phone with your friends for 5 hours. What happened to your to-do list? But
On a couple occasions.
when she gets back on track, it's not hard. She is organized like Charles, like she said. They're the organized two of the house, although I probably plan a lot, but I plan kind of like that. Very about it, so it all works. But it's been easier during the pandemic to manage things because we're all home, and it's been kind of fun.
Wow, I know that has been a lot. So let me ask you this, both of you. What advice would you have for parents that notice their children have a certain affinity for something, whether it's reading, writing, and the next person riding horses, whatever their talent, their God-given talent is? What advice would you have for parents?
I would say, you guys,
Oh, you can go ahead.
I would say have patience. I would say listen to your child, offer and understand and be a student of the game of what dreaming is about and what pursuing opportunities could be. So I knew early on that Avery loved reading. I knew that as a part of the things that I do in my career and the passions that I have, I try to find ways to poke at her to see if she's interested in something. And then because I challenge her often, I think that's also something you want to do with your child. You want to challenge your child on the things that they say that they may be interested in. So take that extra step. So if your child says, I'm interested in racing cars. Now, obviously, you're not going to put them in a car and race the car, but you may start with educating yourself with what race car driving the profession is about, and maybe look to take a family trip to a NASCAR race, or to identify, books, magazines, comic books, or just areas of interest. And in her case, being a young lady, a young girl, I would find females who are race car drivers, for example,
Mhm.
connect her with those individuals and their stories. But I think as parents, the idea is to take 2 steps and go ahead of your child. So you're there to cultivate them as they go along and never leave them alone when you do so. Always
Right.
them along the way, because you're their first inspiration. You're their first reassurance of safety. And when it comes to that process, and if they fail, you want to be the one to pick them up because you're the one that loves them the most. You don't want to leave them to the world to cater or take care of. You want to always put yourself in a position for that.
Wow. Wow.
I'd like to say, adding to what Charles said,
Hmm.
that Charles and I just talked about this, we're in a different day and age than when we grew up. And so it's a different world now. Let your kids explore. If they are interested in something and it seems like, yeah, okay, whatever, let them go towards it because they're young. They will bounce back from so many things now because they are young. But let them explore, let them dream, let them shoot for the stars, let them know that it's work, but support them every step of the way, because traditionally the way life looked when we were growing up, it doesn't look like that much anymore. Things are changing so quickly, And so I didn't know how to have a corporation or to start a corporation or two corporations when I was 13. But now these kids have Google. They can figure stuff out. They can tell you what they want to do. And so I say, let them chase those dreams, because when you get older, like us, you know that dreams that aren't chased become regrets. And so you don't want your kids to have regrets. You want them to be able to chase those dreams. And if they change their mind and go a different path, then that was their decision. So
Yes.
that's
Wow.
how.
Wow. That's fantastic, because I talk with my daughter who is 26 years old. You know, she's an entrepreneur and doing all these things as well. And one of the things that I always say is, "Hey, Kat," her name is Catherine, and I say, "Kat, you're young. You still can make some shifts and you can transform yourself. You know, you don't have to stay in this box. You can do something else because you're still young. Try everything." And exposure, what I heard you say out of all of this was expose your children, be able to take them and expose them. So my next question to you is, what do you see in the future for Avery? And I want both of you to take time to answer that.
Yeah, guys. What do you think?
Um, I see Avery making history. I see Avery doing things that, as her parents, um, we never imagined. When she was 3, we would say, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" And she would point to the TV and say, "Be in there." It was like, whoa.
Wow.
But I do see that she used to write songs and sing them and write poetry, and we saw that creativity. And I see her doing so much in this world that we never imagined. And I see her embracing her God-given talents and her gifts. I think that all children need to know that they have their own gift, and you
Mhm.
pursue your gift, and you root for your friends as they pursue theirs. And I see her pursuing her gifts and changing the world with them. And I'm just proud to be her mom. Aww.
Yeah, to echo that, to take a little bit of a shift, I see Avery leading something. So it is leading something with passion, leading something with an eye for creativity, and being a teacher. She will be in the position, if she's this pioneer, she's also a teacher. She's teaching others to be better than her, because it doesn't begin and end with her. It begins and it ends. It's infinite, because there is no ending. And so I'll see her forever leading,
Mm.
working, and being an example of what passion and working and not feeling like you're working, and just enjoying what's around it. She's very observant of what's around her. If you ever have an opportunity to see her when she's in her passion, in her bag, as a young kid said,
Yeah.
what I think, what, oh no,
Yeah. No people.
when she's in her bag, she has this certain look like she's in the zone. I'm a
Right.
sports fan, and I've seen Michael Jordan in the zone. But when
Hmm.
he's in the zone, it's almost as if it's an out of body experience. And sometimes I walk in there and I turn around and leave out, because I know
Hmm.
she's in that zone doing something creative. So, like I said, I enjoy watching her grow. I appreciate her humbleness. I appreciate her willingness to want to lead and help others, and just her unselfishness in the approach that she takes in the things she does.
Wow. Hey, I can't, you can't say anything else. Avery, don't you start, because I'm going to start too. I
Right.
mean,
Oh my God.
to to hear you all talk about your child like that is just so phenomenal, and it just gives me inspiration to know that, Avery, I already know you're gonna be bam. I just pray that you're gonna say, "Tammy, come on and be in this movie. I
Yeah.
need you to be in. I need an old lady to sit in."
No, no.
But listen, Amy and Charles, 3 words that you want to share with parents that will make a difference for their children. 3 words.
One, like I said before, patience.
Okay.
Um, the other one, I would say love, unconditional.
Hmm.
Um, and I would say a third would be Be an example.
Oh wow. Love it. Be an example. Listen, listen, Kelly family. I love you. I love you. Thank you so much. Listen, yes. Yes. I'm trying to make it sure that I do it right. but let's see how people can get in touch with you. Tiana, can you yes. All right. So this is it. Go to your website, go to Facebook, Instagram, and I will tell you that Avery is always on Instagram. I mean, I'm
All the
giving
time.
that heart all the time, all the time. Avery, when you have this premiere, I do want you to come back
Most
because I want to help promote it. What can I do? You send me video. Amy, Charles, send the video. We're going to put it on the show. Whatever I can do to support you, you know that I'm here for you.
Thank you so much, and most definitely, I'm just excited for this. That's all. I'm always trying to stay in the present moment. My dad tells me all the time, stay in the present moment. And at the same time, I'm excited for the present moment because I just get to be able to work. And hopefully this story will touch a lot of people. I'm really excited about it. Me, the people that I've been working with on it, it's just like we've been putting in our effort to make sure that it can all go well, that it can all just be the best that it can be. So I'm so excited to just share it with the world. And thank you so much for allowing me and my family, it's sometimes hard to get them to talk, and you were able to do that.
Well, we always had great conversations. See, we come from old school, so we can chat and talk all the time. And so I want to thank you all, the Kelly family. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Avery. Thank you for being on the show. Listen, you've got some hearts and emojis, and everybody just saying all kinds of things. Yes, yes, comments coming in. And so again, Avery, God bless you. God bless you, Amy and Charles. Thank you for all that you're doing, and thank you for joining me. I'll see you all on the next go round.
Okay, we'll see you soon.
I'll see you on Tweendom Talk. I see you out there, girl. Bye. Bye. All right. Listen, you just heard from Avery. I tell you what, Avery, Kelly, Amy, and Charles, thank you so much for being on the show. The Kellys, beautiful family. They have been just doing it. And so I want to thank you. And like you said, you can get in touch with them. Go to Inspired Melanin. You can see their website, and it's fabulous. That's all I can say. All right. You're going to meet next. We're going to meet this 13-year-old. I mean, now, come on. When you say bull rider, he's a bull rider. Champion. So we're going to meet him coming up next. We'll be right back.
Our roots are strong, our culture rich, our presence powerful. Our vibrant, colorful swag can be seen in everything we touch. Let's celebrate us and everything we are. The blueprint of food, music, and soul. For an immersive weekend of African American culture, dynamic musical acts, delicious food, cultural vendors, and more. Join us in Charleston for the Root of Soul J19 Fest. Low country roots, African heritage, Black soul.
We're right back. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you for all of the comments that you all have been sending. You just met Avery, Kelly, and Amy and Charles, her parents. And so now you're going to meet. Let me tell you about him. He's 13 years old, fifth generation horseman from Upper Marlboro, Maryland, where he lives with his parents and his four siblings on their family horse farm. Now, he started rodeoing at the age of 6. When I tell you he has a story to share with us, he has a story to share with us. He is the 2020 Junior World Finals bull riding champion. And so before we bring him from backstage, you've just got to see this. Let's roll it, Tiana.
Go ahead. Away from his hand. You got him. You got him. Hats come a-flying, and now the celebration.
Wow. What did I tell you? He's amazing. Come on out, Nicholas, Corey, Robin, the Jackson family. Come on out. How you doing? Howdy. I meant to bring my hat. I forgot my pink. I have a pink cowgirl hat. But howdy. It's great to see you all. It is wonderful. Thank you so much for being on the show. Listen, Nicholas, I'm going to start with you, my brother. You are amazing. I
Thank
want
you.
to find out what interests you in riding a bull. I'd be afraid.
Well, like you said in the beginning, I'm a fifth generation cowboy. So as a kid, we would have. I mean, as when I was younger, there's this rodeo called the Bill Pickett Rodeo, and they would have their finals once a year, and it's pretty close to where we live. And so they have the mutton busting in it. So when I was little, I go to the Bill Pickett Rodeo and I do the mutton busting. Well, about 3 years later, my dad found out that there's a high school rodeo. It's called the Maryland High School Rodeo Association. And my dad signed me up for it when I was 6 years old, and I did the mutton busting in it. And then, well, at 7 years old, you age out of the mutton busting. So when I turned 7, I moved up to mini bulls. So that's how it all started.
So now come on now. A lot of people are listening. I kind of know what the mutton busting is, but you have to explain that to everybody.
Well, mutton busting is like a down scale from bull riding. Mutton busting is going to be with sheep, and it's for kids around the ages from 7 and under. And basically, the sheep is going to be in the chute, and you have to ride the sheep for around 6 to 8 seconds, depending where you're at. But it's basically like riding a bull, but with sheep.
Uh-huh. Yes, I remember that. So, all right, now we've got all these comments coming in. So let me ask you this, Nicholas, who inspired you to be who you are at this point in your life?
Well, my parents inspired me to be where I am today because my mom, she's a cowgirl, and my dad, he's a cowboy and a horse trainer. So I just ended up picking this stuff up around as I grew up, and as I got older, I started being able to interact and be able to do the stuff that they are able to do.
That's right. Well, Corey and Robin, I don't want to ignore you. I want to say thank you for joining the show. Thank you for being here. You know, it's all about, we're talking about Nicholas, but I want to thank you because I'm looking at you all and you all look so proud. You're sitting there with your chest, like this. And I can only imagine what it's like to have seen your son stay on that bull for 8 seconds. What was that feeling like?
Well, I don't know if you can see from the video, but I always pull his rope. And so I'm right there, right over top of him. It was a must ride situation. We went into the finals, in second place, 5 points out of the first place. So it was a must ride. I knew it was going to do it. The hats that you seen going through the air, that one of them was mine. It was actually this one.
Mhm.
And it was just, for your kids to experience greatness. That's something that we don't get very often. So for him to experience what it means to be great, to be number one in the world at something, for me as his dad, I told him at this point, you can do anything in the world that you would want to do. Yeah.
Wow, that is right. And Miss Robin, are you sitting over there, proud mama?
Yes. Yes.
Proud mama, just grinning. But you know what, Nicholas, I want to go back to you because I want to ask you about what's your journey been like? What's this journey been like for you, being this bull riding champion?
Well, it was a very hard-working journey. It was definitely a lot of work because me and my dad, we drive a total of about 6 hours to a practice pen in Pennsylvania almost every week to prepare for this World Finals. And it was mostly a lot of body preparation and mental preparation and just getting that whole muscle memory down to be able to go into the Junior World Finals where I need to be at.
Look, y'all got some love from the Kelly family. So let's talk about this. Tiana, let's show the pictures of Nicholas because I want people to see him in his regalia, as we say. I think yes. Wow, look at that. Man. Now, Nicholas, you can talk while we're looking at this. You're on this bull.
Yes,
What is
ma'am.
this? What is this like for you? I mean, are you afraid at all?
Well, I've been doing it so long for now that I don't get really scared anymore. I
Hmm.
just know that when it's time to ride, that's when you get in that place in your mind where you tell yourself that you know what you're about to do, so you got to do it correctly and you have to do it well.
Wow. So let's go to the next picture. I know we have here you are. This is you with the champion.
So,
This wow. This is what you received.
yes, ma'am. That's all my winnings I received.
Wow. So is that the saddle that you used on this bull?
Well, in bull riding, you actually ride with a rope. So that saddle
Oh,
was
right. That's
actually
right.
part of his winnings. So you'll see
Okay.
in the picture, he's holding a belt buckle. So that's the
Yes.
coveted prize.
Uh-huh.
Second is the saddle. You know, it's a trophy saddle that commemorates, his championship win. And then down below, of course, there's a big check for his first place winnings.
And how much was that check for?
I think it was for 37 and some
Wow.
change.
Wow, wow, wow. And so, thanks, Tiana. And so we have another picture of you that you sent. Yes, this is a picture that I love. I'm going to take
That we had someone had requested, ever since Nicholas's success with winning the world title, we've had so many people reach out to us, media outlets, photographers, reporters, journalists. The list goes on. And so a professional photographer reached out and asked to photograph Nicholas. And that's one of the photographs that she did some additional work to. And it's the photograph that we use to commemorate his world champion win.
wow. I see you being on Twitter sometime soon too.
I heard that.
That'd be awesome.
Avery was very impressive.
She's amazing.
Yes, yes. So now, Nicholas, how do you balance school and writing? How do you balance all of this?
Well, usually it's broken parts. The beginning of the day to around like 5 or 4,
Depending.
depending. that'll be the school proportion of the day, and then the rest of the day is bull riding training. So my mom is my homeschool teacher, and my dad is my bull riding instructor.
Wow, right in the same house. I tell you. So, what challenges do you face being in this business, Nicholas, for a young man? What challenges have you faced, if any?
I'll tell you, as his parent and as his teacher, lots of times. So he attends a co-op once a week, and he's got to be prepared for it. It's a rigorous program. We're doing geography, Latin, literature. There's a paper every couple weeks due, and it's a lot of work. And he knows that his education is extremely important to his father and I. And so he doesn't get to ride if the schoolwork is not done, and I'm a stickler about it. So he has to travel with his work. I don't care if you get in at 2 a.m. from driving, you're still going to your class at 8:30 in the morning. So I think it's been a struggle, and that's why he has his parents to help him along.
Yeah, I see. Yeah,
and form some boundaries for him. So he knows the schoolwork is a must. And I think just looking in at him as a young man, just trying to figure out that balance. It's tough. It's tough because he's not at home a lot. So and the standards are still there for us.
Wow, that says a lot. And so, what grade is he in? What grade are you in now, Nicholas?
I'm in the 7th grade right now.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So just like we say with sports, you can't play sports or do anything unless the education is right. And I know Miss Amy's looking because she's an educator. So you can't do anything if the grades aren't right. So
That's
so
right.
that's fabulous. And it's great that he has that type of support. So Nicholas, what's next for you?
My next big rodeo is my next big rodeo is the Junior NFR, which will be in Texas. Where?
Yeah, sometime during the summer. I don't think they've selected a date yet.
And he also has the junior high school world finals coming up as well. So he's got a really action-packed year in front of him. First and foremost, defending his world championship title, and just I don't want to say the pressure's on, but he's the number one guy that everyone's chasing. So we're going to campaign him. We're going to get him to all the big youth bull ridings throughout the United States. And so he has his work cut out for him.
Yeah. So now I do have a question for you, and I know some folks are listening. African American. I told you I'm a rider too. So I've ridden horses and I loved horses. You don't see a lot of African Americans riding horses, bull riding. What is it like in that arena for you, Nicholas, and then Corey and Robin? You can certainly chime in. What is that like? Are you the only African American who's competing for this title?
Well, other than a few other kids, there's not a lot of African American kids competing in bull riding.
Mm-hmm.
So oftentimes we are either one or maybe one of two or three African American families at these higher stakes, high level organizations, riding nationally and internationally. So yes, it we're just like you spoke about, in horses as well. It's the same thing.
Right. So Corey and Robin, is it fair to say that Nicholas is the first African American to win this particular championship? That's what makes it so unique. That's why.
Yeah,
that's what makes it so unique. Wow.
Yeah, and the other part is, I guess, where we're from. There has not been anyone from the Northeast region to win such a title.
Right.
And one thing I'll say about him being one of the only African Americans, one thing I'm just very proud of, and that goes for all the kids, because all of our kids compete, except for our oldest, but they're always one of few, if not the only, and it does not faze them at all. I think they know, but it's not anything that's on the forefront of their mind. They go to compete. They have friends of all colors, and it's just not, they're not intimidated by it. And that's what I'm very happy about. And my mom, she always talks about, her experience growing up during the civil rights era. And they're just, it does not faze them. They're apparent difference. So
right.
I love it.
that you know what? That's wonderful, because when I would go fox hunting, my ex and my daughter and I, as a family, we would be the only ones fox hunting, and it didn't faze us. We were out there, hey, let's go fox hunting. We're not thinking about anything,
Yeah, and it extends to all areas. Of course, rodeo is our primary activity, but when they go into a class and they're one of few, it's not an issue. When we go on a trip and we're one of few, it's just not an issue. So I just think it's in an indirect way for them, a huge confidence.
Right. And that says a lot about what you have instilled in your children. Tiana, bring up the picture of the family, because you brought a picture of your family. I want people to see this beautiful family. Wow. Look at that. And everybody competes.
Yes.
Everybody competes. How about that? Now, that's okay. Let them in.
I'm so sorry.
Come on in. If they want to come on in, come on in. Okay, Tiana, let's let who is this?
This is little Dylan. This is our youngest.
All right. Hey, Mr. Dylan, how are you?
Good.
How old are you, Dylan?
Can you speak up?
8.
Yeah.
You're 8. Okay. And he loves riding as well.
Yes.
He does.
Absolutely.
Wow. You all are doing it. I tell you what, we got to do a movie on you. Okay, Avery, let's get ready. Documentary coming. Did you hear that?
There you go, Avery.
You got it, Avery? Documentary. Okay. All right. All right. Thank you, Avery. Okay. So listen, I want to talk with you and we just have, I mean, I can ask so many questions. 3 words that describe you, Nicholas.
I'd have to say I'm focused, I'm laid back, and laid back, focus. I don't know if they're going.
I would call you humble.
Humble.
Yes.
All right. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Focused, laid back, and humble. Nicholas, thank you for joining the show. I tell you what, I'm going to talk to you. Stick right there, man. But I'm going to talk to your parents because I want to find out what advice would you have for parents who see this innate ability in their children.
Sure. I think, as parents, we're our children's first advocate. And I think when you see that they have an interest or even a questionable interest, just expose them to as much as possible and really nurture that interest. If you don't know anything about what they're interested in, then find somebody who does. It just feeds their confidence to have an interest, to know that there's a path to learn about what they're interested in and to excel at it. So I think it's worth just all the hard work it takes to kind of carve out a path for your kids to just cultivate their interest. I think you just have to do that as a parent.
Yeah, and that's so important. I mean, that's what Amy and Charles were talking about. You got to let your kids go and do. You've got to nurture that and see that through. Corey, one of the things that I asked you about was about being this rodeo, this cowboy that you are. And now that you see your son doing that, what is it like for father and son to travel together?
It's awesome. My background is in football. I played Division I football. And so what I bring to the table with him, he calls me his coach, but more so I'm just bringing inspiration and encouragement and just teaching him how to be a competitor, in a sport. It's great being with him. We call each other traveling partners because we do go as a family, but sometimes we go just him and I, especially when the trips are, west of the Mississippi and we have to fly. As his dad, it's just great having a front row seat, being able to see him pursue his goals, pursue his passion, and just be number one in the world. So, I get a front row seat and get to hang out with him. So it's pretty cool. Wow.
And Mom, you're home with the children, but you all travel together. I mean, I think that's the beauty of your family, the Jackson family. Jackson, okay, no pun intended, Jackson 5, but having that ability to travel with them, teach them on the road as the educator that you are. Wow, that is fabulous. Okay, we don't have much time. 3 words that you would like to share with parents about what they need to be thinking about. 3 words.
This is 2, but be limitless. Don't limit your kids. What do you think?
I would say pay attention to your kids.
Mhm.
And lastly, be of encouragement to them.
All right. Encourage. All right, so we've got all these words. I'm calling my thing 3 words, okay? Because I'm asking every guest about these 3 words because I think words are so powerful, and we have to continue to uplift and continue to keep our children together. Nicholas, I am so proud of you, my brother.
Thank you.
And Corey and Robin, thank you so much. I mean, you've done so much, and you have your whole family. It is just phenomenal to see you and what you've been able to do, and how Nicholas is just this champion. I'm telling you. See, if you don't ride horses and you're not out there, it might be hard for you to understand. But just know that this brother here is going to make a change in the world, just like Avery. I see it coming. I see it coming. So
Thank you.
congratulations to you. My hat's off to you. Thank you all so much. Nicholas, continue to do what you're doing. Parents, continue to do what you're doing. I've enjoyed this show. I don't know about you all, but I have truly enjoyed having you.
Thank you.
Thank
We've
you for
enjoyed
having
being
us.
on. Thank you for the invite. We're so happy to be co-guests on the show with the Kelly family, doing so many great things, and I look forward to seeing her future as well.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes, yes. Well, listen, you all take care of yourself and continue riding on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. God bless you.
Thank you
Thank you
as well.
too.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Wow. When I tell you, I have enjoyed myself. I don't know about you, but I've enjoyed myself. Kelly's, I love you. Jackson's, I love you. Now, you know what? You know I can't do it, right? It's something like that. Okay, Avery, I know you're trying to show me. All right. My daughter's going to say, Mama, you mean you couldn't do the heart? Come on. But listen, I want to thank you all so much for being on the show. You don't know, you made this Kidpreneur show one of the best. And I'm so proud of you. Thank you, Amy. I had a blast with you too. And so you all are going to have to make sure that you pay attention to Avery Kelly and Nicholas Jackson. These are young people who are taking the world by storm. And we're excited at what's going to happen in their lives. Again, I want to thank you, guest, for being on the show. Thank you, viewers, for tuning in. Thank you for all of the comments. I love you all out there. We just appreciate you so much. And listen, as I always say, make sure that you love on somebody. Make sure you check up on them. Make sure you be a I want you to know that we are so very appreciative of you. I want you to have a safe and enjoyable weekend. Remember, wear your mask. I know you've been vaccinated. Still wear your mask, social distance, and wash your hands. Tiana, sister producer, producer A, thank you. My cousin Pamela, thank you for joining. And Aunt Eulalia, thank you for watching. Thank everybody for all that you're doing to contribute to Tammy. I love you, sis. Thank you. I can't say it enough. Thank you to Kellys. Thank you to the Jacksons. You all have a wonderful and blessed evening and the rest of the week. Take care of yourself until the next time. Take care. Bye-bye.